we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's a snack pack, everyone. It's Gerald Glass coming right back up to you from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up on this Friday's episode, it's the best of pro wrestling for 2024. Also coming up, we did a great show for Super BS Gamescast on the Pop Culture Cosmos YouTube channel, so go ahead and catch that today, where we talked about the VGAs and more. So go ahead and check that out as well. Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Chris Sardieri was back along with Sean Grice and Joe Sorrell. Those guys talked with me about the Giants, the Raiders, talked about Josh Allen, and talked about what's going on with NFL Week 16 and who has the better playoff system for fantasy football. Go ahead and check it out today wherever you get your podcasts. Also as well, of course, the Lakerholics crew, Lakerholics.com. Of course, also, don't forget Empire Jeff TV covering the Lakers and Dodgers, Lakers in 5, John McCallion channel. Of course, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo! Alfred Esmond. Also great. Going to hopefully get him back on very soon. Stone Hansen at Report_Court. The Legend through 50. All these great people like and subscribe and follow and do whatever you can to support them. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers, but we need your help to get over the hump. By subscribing today, hit that notification bell so you can find out what's going on right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. And don't forget, we've got memberships still available. $2.99 a month right here at the Lakers Fast Break as well. But Joe Sorrell has an announcement. I saved the best for last right here. He is Oxide247 at LakersBall.com, Simblades, SimbladesWithAY.com, and he's got a major announcement on his fighting game that he is helping to bring to life. Joe, without further ado, please take it away, my friend.
Coreupt is launching in less than 12 hours. So wherever you are, Mark, in Australia, those in the Philippines, those in Canada, those in Saudi Arabia, check your time zones. It'll be 9 a.m. tomorrow, December 19th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Coreupt will launch, and this will be the beginning. This will be the beginning, and 2025 might be the year of Coreupt. So for those of you who haven't wishlisted, please go to Steam and wishlist tonight or purchase tomorrow once it's available. The green button is ready to be pressed, and tomorrow we will launch, and Coreupt will be playable to the world.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Again, it is Coreupt, Coreupt, on Steam. Any update on Epic as well?
Nothing with Epic at the moment, but Playtonic looks like are right now taking the lead, and it looks like they may be the group that presents us a connection with, I'm sorry, Mark, this is going to probably hurt you too, Gerald, but they're working possibly on an exclusive, and unfortunately it might not be Microsoft.
You got to do what's best for you and your company. So
I mean, it'll eventually get there. It's just initially there's going to have to be a beginning. And Playtonic has been very supportive of us launching. Those who we were talking to before were more in the realm of, well, you know, can you hold on? And we're like, no, we're not holding on. So Playtonic really kind of sold us on the realism of what's going on here, because we've waited long enough. We can't wait any longer. We need somebody to finally put their balls on the table and just go. So we're feeling pretty good. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this develops. It's not going to take too many, being that we're in Indy. It's not going to take too many purchases here for this thing to start getting some momentum. And once it does get that momentum, I think it's going to go into a whole different stratosphere. Again, guys, this is not just a video game. We have a franchise behind this. We have anime possibilities. We have a comic book. We have TV series. We have movies. We have merch. We have sequels that are ready to go. So this is going to be a process. And the benefit for everyone here that watches the show, those who do the show, is that should this be what we think it's going to be, it is only going to be the beginning. This will be a generational IP. I'll just leave it at that.
Let me ask you this.
No, Mark, I don't do OnlyFans, buddy. Sorry, but I got kids. I can't do that.
Well, if it's, again, I think you should still at some point in time do an OnlyFans or similar cameo or something where you just shout at people.
Look, I'm not into fetish type stuff in terms of me doing it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't get into that stuff.
Even if it's just like a happy birthday, you MFer you?
I don't know. I'm not playing I'm a reactionist. I am not
Okay.
I'm not going to be, I guess I know my agents and management will be like, look, dude, somebody wants you to wish them a happy motherfucking birthday and they're going to pay you like $100.
That's cameo.
I don't know. It depends on how much money you have at that point. I just don't view money like most people. And that's one of the things I like to keep on. By the way, Sean, you're on mute. You muted yourself. Which is funny too, because the way Sean's head looks right now, it looks like it's Kobe. He's wearing Kobe's jersey. Can you guys see it, or am I the only one that sees it? Anyways, we'll cross that bridge when we arrive to it. The most important thing is the work. Why'd you take it off?
I didn't take him off. He might have just left.
The most important part of this is the work. This is a beginning of a larger process. And I just want to be able to get to that.
By the way, that was just the wrong microphone.
Yeah, we thought, okay, man, did you upset him again, Joe? That's what I was thinking.
Nah,
I told him to respond to you anytime he insults
that wouldn't
you.
have responded. That wouldn't have.
I was going to say you could start with sending me a happy birthday, motherfucker, tomorrow because it's my birthday. So
there you go. See, there you go.
You can
free cameo on the house there for you, Sean. There you go. He's gonna call you up.
Well, technically, it is your birthday. It's midnight in Toronto, so happy motherfucking birthday.
There you go. Absolutely. Happy birthday to you. Yes. At the end, you're probably like, "I hope you die."
Go away.
All right, there you go. Happy birthday, my friend, though. Wishing you all the best, Magic Man, to have a wonderful and fantastic birthday on Thursday, my friend. So I hope that's good for you. And hopefully also, coincidentally, the launch of Coreupt as well. So,
yeah, Mission, there's anime. Oh, man, there's a market there for this stuff that you haven't seen yet. And this is what's great about this is it's finally going to get out and there's just going to be more and more coming. So just get ready, guys. We're at the precipice of something big, and we just need a little bit of marketing after this, and the story, the characters will speak for themselves, and the people behind it are ridiculously talented, and we're also ridiculously charismatic and smart, which generally in the video game world, usually developers don't have those assets. We are talking about the kind of people that are involved where we can go into a boardroom with the CEOs and look down on them literally and know exactly what we're talking about. And that's something that's put us in this position more than anything. It's the confidence and the execution, which is right now, again, in the industry there's not a lot of that going on.
Question for you, though. Virtual Fighter 5 Revo. It's going to come out late January. It was announced last week, I believe, during the Video Game Awards. Your thoughts on that as a potential competitor to Coreupt?
It could be. I'm actually more irritated this weekend because I believe one of the popular influencers, Maximilian, has a mod for the Marvel vs. Capcom game that he's going to show, I think, Friday, Saturday. I thought that was kind of a crappy timing, but we're always going to run into that. We're an indie, okay? We're not hiding anything from anyone. We're an indie. We're not going to have the marketing that we need starting tomorrow at 9 a.m. But what we need is what we got from the demo times 20. We get that. Just the good vibes are enough to get things rolling. It doesn't even necessarily need to reach a particular unit sales setup. It just needs a really good support system, which we got. We had Justin Wong play our game for 3 hours on the Discord, and he was in Vietnam. He wasn't even at home. He was on a trip, and I'm watching him. I didn't know who the hell Justin Wong was from Don Juan at that time.
Oh, really?
I didn't know.
Really, Joe?
Yes, and I'm sitting there, and I thought it was kind of funny that someone like me would be watching someone playing a video game for 90 minutes. He had already been playing it for an hour and a half. He played it for 3 hours. I watched the last hour and a half, and I'm just like, wow. He's trying to get the combos together, and he was invested in it. So the noise is out there. It's just a matter of let's get this thing out. Let the noise build up a little bit more. We've gotten a lot of good reaction from the PAX conventions and all the
Evo gaming, and all that.
Absolutely, we got enough. But once it just gets up a little bit more, we're going to get a little bit more. We're going to get a little bit more. Then at that point, somebody's going to come on board, which is looking like right now we got someone to do that. Then it's like, all right, guys, we're going to be able to sell 250 million units to 1 million here, just with this particular marketing campaign. And then for me, really, I have a really good piece of the merch. That's really going to set everybody free. It's the merchandise. So crossing my fingers.
Remind me to talk to you about some merch issues for the Lakers Fast Break, as far as some good things for after we go off the air tonight. So
sure.
Yes, maybe Santa might come home to somebody with some merch here in the not too distant future, but we'll see. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Again, happy birthday to Magic Man and to Joe. A successful launch tomorrow, aka Thursday. If you're listening to this on audio or you're listening to this on the delayed broadcast, it is available Thursday morning right there on Steam. Coreupt. It will be in the description. It's right there for you. Just type in Coreupt. I've tested it myself already. You can wish list it right now if you're listening live. Or, again, if you're already going to be listening to this after the fact, if you're driving to work or whatnot, go to work, sit down, take a couple moments, order the game right there on your phone. Don't tell the boss. It's okay. Just pay for the game right there. There you go. It is going to be a great valued game. Obviously, a major, step forward for the fighting genre. It is Coreupt. Please go ahead and make sure you help out Joe today. And also the awesome developing team is not exactly a team. It's one man behind it all, Joe.
It's one man and his 7 dwarves.
Okay.
All remote too. They're not in a studio. They're not in a building. There's been a lot of wows when we tell people that, but these guys are ridiculously talented, and the way we've managed to bring in enough resource to get it to this point is even more of a next level setup, because we will not be in the red very long. I'm talking we could be in the black by tomorrow. That's how quick this can get there. And when you already are successful out the gate with the accounting, you're not going to have to worry about risking anything.
The majority of the games on Steam and even on console, 60 to 80% are usually, as far as the sales for lifetime, are within the first within the first 30 days. So we'll find out what happens with Coreupt. But guys, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro and Magic Man Sean Grice. Are those kernels coming down easy today, Sean?
They're not kernels right now. I'm eating pomegranates.
Okay, all right. Just making sure because I was worried about
No
you.
more.
Greatest,
No more.
greatest
Yeah,
fruit,
yeah.
greatest fruit ever made.
He was turning red. His whole face was turning
No
red.
more. Those damn kernels. No more kernels
Yes, please.
during live
You're
broadcasts.
scaring me, you were scaring me, my friend. I literally was like, I was hovering over you like hide on stream. I was literally hovering over that button the entire time. Crazy, but it is of course the Lakers fast break. Guys, the Lakers head into Sacramento tomorrow, playing a different kind of back-to-back. They're playing 2 days in 3 nights in Sacramento. Again, we've talked about this already, but I know with several days off, a lot of people are still wondering what the Lakers can do. I have a feeling, again, they should go in there pretty fresh. That I think the best game that they're going to give them is on Thursday. Who knows? If they have the right momentum, they could take both games. And if they do, I think Mike Brown, his seat will become a little bit warmer. If that's the case, I know it bodes, okay for the Lakers for finishing above 500 at the end by the end of the year. I'm not putting way beyond that. I think people got to go ahead and temper their enthusiasm, but I think there is a chance, Joe, we could still find ourselves somewhere between 6 and 10 by the end of the year. I think that's still a real possibility because it is so much in a cluster between 5 and 12 right now that I think it's a chance for the Lakers even to put even a small winning streak together. They can stay competitive in the Western Conference, Joe.
Yeah, I'm indifferent right now with the team. Beating Memphis the way they did kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of when they seem to have AD at full throttle. This is what they are, and it also lets you know how amazing he is as a talent. How you kind of constantly go back and forth on whether to keep him or not if there is a switch. It's an easy explanation, and it's the only explanation at this point. If AD is playing MVP basketball, and there's no reason why he can't play MVP basketball for 75 of the 82 games. Now he's missed a game, so we can say 75 of the 81. I know there's a couple of lulls here and there, at least from the basketball that I've watched in my life. It was a rarity when the greats had a bad game. It was one out of every couple months. You always hear Shaquille go, "Yeah, man, I wasn't making my chippies today." 3 months later after he's had a good 3-month run. We
So
haven't
Matt,
seen. Yeah, sorry. I'll put a button on this and then I'll.
no
let you
worries,
go.
no worries.
Yeah, there is no other way to explain this other than if these players are invested in playing smart team basketball, which is what they did against Memphis, with a little bit of individual man on man as well, that helped. But we have to have AD dropping 30 and 12 a game. There is no room for error there. If he comes into a game and he's only scoring 9 points through 3 quarters, it's not going to work. There's not enough talent to cover that, and LeBron can't continue to be LeBron anymore. Other than in maybe out of the 4 games during the week, he's going to be LeBron probably 1.5 times at this point. LeBron of the old. The other 2.5 games is going to be.
He's just old.
He's old in LeBron olds. He's not old in talent of today's NBA, other than the superstars that are young. Because if he had a couple other guys on this team other than AD that were good shooters, like next level shooters or good scorers, LeBron would never really need to do LeBron things out of necessity. He could do it because it opens up that way. It could be that one game where he just feels good that day and everything's clicking. But he has to be LeBron almost every game, especially if AD isn't picking up the slack. And I mean picking up the slack as an MVP and AD. And that's it. That's what this team is. And until that becomes a consistent process, there's just the Lakers are going to win these games once in a while, and then they're going to maybe win 2 out of every 4.
Sean, let me bring it back over to you. Before we get into the Darvin Ham stuff, and also as well, Rob Pelinka, because I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys yesterday about the Rob Pelinka stuff I wanted to chat about as well. The Sacramento games, I know they're on the surface, they may not look as very important to a lot of other people out there, but to us, I think they are, because it sets a tone. It sets a tone on how the Lakers will probably finish up at the end of this year. And at the end of this year, going into 2025, if they are still hotly in the mix, I think it bodes well for the team, bodes well for the team as far as making any kind of run later on in the season. But again, if they go out and they just pull, 2 lemons on Thursday and Saturday, then we're right back where we started. But before we get into the Darvin Ham stuff, before I get into Rob Pelinka, I wanted to hear your thoughts one more time on Sacramento and what they face when they go up to Sacktown and prevent them, or try to prevent them from lighting the beam.
Yeah, you know what? In both of these games, Gerald, it's and suddenly Trey Lyles is going to be available. Who knew, Gerald? Who knew? Anyway, it's going to be a test because look, like you said, if you can separate yourselves from this team and win these 2 games, yeah, you're right. It creates somewhat of an aura that you've gotten your shit together a little bit, because you'd be 16-12. You'd have forward momentum. You'd have a 3-game winning streak. And in that scenario, it's likely that Max Christie has been starting, but you've been still finding ways to win or be pluses on the court, even with deficient lineup. On top of that, you would also put other teams in a position where now they have to start thinking about maybe dealing with the Lakers once again, because since there's a bit of a heater going on, activity tends to pick up, Gerald. So
Yep.
the Lakers might find it to their advantage to kind of whip themselves into shape by whipping the Kings' ass on the court these back-to-back games. I will say this though: it's going to if the Lakers are going to win both of these games, it's because Anthony Davis outplayed Sabonis in both of them.
I agree. He's got to get that Sabonis thing out of his head. It's probably in his head by this time, but because he's dominated so many times on AD, and again, AD has to go ahead and perform. If not, then it could be a lot of trouble unless we get some sort of unknown to us right now kind of extra source of scoring outside of Reed.
At some point,
AD,
Gerald. At some point, Gerald, Dalton Connect is going to start making threes.
He's got to go up. He's got to go on a streak. He's got to go on a streak. I would have thought the injury to Jared McCain kind of opened the door for him. If it's those things where looking at, oh man, there's really no front runner right now for Rookie of the Year. This is my time to shine. But he is not on the offensive or defensive end doing anything with force or with strength. He's very passive. And if anybody says out there he's soft, I'm not going to disagree with him at this point. He has got to find more force out there on both sides of the ball. Find that confidence once again that he had earlier this season. Get on a roll. Man, that does wonders for the Lakers if they do, Sean.
100%, Gerald. And do you know the 2 most important facets of optimum performance?
What's that?
One is physical strength, and 2 is max VO2. And like you said, if somebody said right now Connect is soft, you wouldn't argue.
No, I'm not gonna argue.
I agree. I agree. There, he needs to get a little stronger. I'm not sure if it's the regimen
He
that
needs to just play a little stronger. He needs to play with force. He needs to play with strength and anger, something just to maybe just he plays soft, he plays timid, especially in the most recent games that
this
he's
is
been out.
really this would be really hard to hear if you're Dalton Connect because you're named after the main character in Roadhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Would anybody call Dalton from Roadhouse soft?
Yes. Well, again, right now, if he finds a stroke, it's going to make things a lot better for the Lakers and a lot easier. So we will definitely see. I mean, he had every opportunity to take control of the starting lineup. He has given every opportunity to take command of it and didn't get it done. Max Christie, he is very inconsistent on the offensive end. He gives you effort on the defensive end. Doesn't always work for him on that end, but he does give you effort. If he can slow down De'Aaron Fox and give us minutes there, and offensively, he can gives us anything, I think that's a big plus. He can keep a starting spot for a little while, but wait and see. Otherwise, we're just going to see that back and forth where there's that fifth movable piece that JJ Redick keeps on putting out there. But guys, want to go ahead and
Oh,
talk a little? Yeah,
Gerald,
go ahead. Yeah, sure.
before you
Give you the
segue,
Darvin Ham stuff. Yes.
yeah, I was just gonna say, unpopular opinion, the fight at the end of Roadhouse is better than the Quiet Man one,
Okay. The new. Are you talking about the new one or the old one?
the old one.
Yeah, you better be talking the old one. That new one
No,
was
no,
crap.
I haven't seen the new one. Is
Yeah,
it
good.
worth
You want to see
watching?
Dude,
that?
it was bad.
Not worth watching,
Uh,
huh?
it was so bad.
Conor
It
McGregor was such a great actor. You want him to
Oh,
stay in the MMA.
it rivaled the Many Saints of Newark.
Yeah,
Bad.
it was.
ooh.
It was
It
bad.
was the storylines and the bullshit were had nothing to do with Dalton. They kept creating a storyline about the stupid bar owner and her stupid ass. I'm like, what is this? Like, seriously, did you guys even watch the first one? I hate all those people. All of them. They all should never work in that business again.
Even Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal got paid probably $5 million to jerk off in that movie, and he left.
Exactly what he did.
That's
Exactly
probably what he did. That's what a lot of these guys are doing now. That's why they're doing commercials. All that bullshit yapping they did for the last few years. Now they're sitting on their ass. Oh shit, maybe I need to go do a Mylanta commercial. There was a time where actors that big wouldn't even touch a commercial in America. They'd go to Japan, they'd go to China.
Oh yeah, they're all over Japan. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the yeah.
Yeah, they do that over there because no one saw it on American soil because everyone always, back when you had, quality.
They'll pitch coffee, they'll pitch
Yeah.
alcohol, they'll pitch any shoes,
Yeah.
they'll pitch anything in Japan.
Yeah, but it never showed up in America, so it didn't count. They just made money.
Yeah.
But now, shit. What else you got? What else you got? Give me something so I can make some money because I'm broke.
So Laker Nick earlier today sent us over something that you are very well aware of, Magic Man. And Joe, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Comments that were made by none other than Darvin Ham. Yes, one of the two individuals that have the unique distinction of being part of teams that won the NBA Cup in back-to-back years. And I guess and I like the nice touch that they left the champagne on ice, just as a message to say we're not finished yet. I thought that was like a nice little touch, but like, okay, whatever. On May 23rd, a stunned Ham was fired by the Lakers. Ham said he was disappointed and that it was crazy that he didn't get an opportunity to grow in the seat. Thank you, by the way, to Laker Nick for sending us this. To do as well as I did, I swear to God, anywhere else I'm probably looking at an extension with what I did, Ham said. I'm not talking about feelings, Joe. I'm talking actual facts. They go from not making it to the playoffs to the Final Four in the NBA, the conference finals, and then you win the in-season tournament. navigate through all the injuries and win both your playing games to get to the playoffs. People always talk about us losing to Denver, but they never talk about how we got to Denver. We beat a kick-ass young squad in Memphis, and then we beat Golden State. The only fact that he's leaving out is that the entire team hated his guts outside of Torian Prince. And when AD at the end of the season left those nasty comments, passive aggressive or not, that pretty much did his job in. Joe, your thoughts when hearing Darvin Ham say that? Again, I just don't think he has a grasp on reality because, yes, while on the surface that all happened, off the court is the reason, and also on the court for this coaching, let me go ahead and put my hands in my pockets one more time. But mainly off the court with the dissatisfaction from LeBron, from AD. You heard it from the guys at training camp, how glad they were that Ham is out there. Your thoughts on Ham's comments last night?
Oh, celebrating a Western Conference Finals appearance was enough for me to not really take him seriously. And anyone else who celebrates it, which he's not alone there. I've been hearing this. We made it to the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago. And it's not followed by we got the shit beat out of us in 4 games. Folks and Mr. Ham, we don't celebrate Western Conference Finals appearances. Sorry. That's not how the Lakers work. They don't even put up conference title banners. Now, they have to put out the IST to appease Mr. Silver. That means nothing to us. That might as well be a Taylor Swift banner up there, in my eyes.
There is a Taylor Swift banner up there.
I know. That's why I'm saying that's what that means to me. It means exactly that. Or Oscar De La Hoya, and this is no disrespect to Oscar De La Hoya, but it's a basketball arena. I don't know what the hell his statue is doing there. I don't care what he did in boxing. It's a basketball arena. Anyways, you don't see Madison Square Garden putting Muhammad Ali up there, do you? I mean, shit, really? Couldn't beat Mosley twice and couldn't beat Mayweather. Why is his statue out there? If he had beaten Mosley twice and beaten Mayweather, I would have said, okay, maybe that makes a little more sense, but I digress. We don't celebrate, Mr. Ham. We don't celebrate Western Conference appearances, number one. Number two, your dumbass didn't value games enough last year to not put yourself in a position that you put yourself in. Because if you'd given a shit a little bit more, you would have won 4 or 5 more games. And guess what? You would have had home court in the first round. And then who knows what happened after that. You do not win titles except for one time in the history of this thing. That's 34 years of this current setup of 3 rounds and then the finals. There's only been one team, one anomaly that's won a title playing on the road in every round. That's it. And that was an oddball year because Mr. Michael Jeffrey Jordan decided to retire for 18 months. That probably wouldn't have happened if he hadn't retired. So anyways, you obviously are mad that you're not a head coach. Fine. Will you get another shot? I don't think you're head coach material. It's already very hard to be an NBA coach anyways, even when you are good. But I don't particularly see any leadership in Darvin Ham's arsenal. He looks like a moper on the sidelines. I don't see any powerful leader there. I don't see anything there. I see a moper. That's all I see. I don't think you can influence anybody with the way you do things. And that's just kind of how it is. If you want to say that you're a good assistant, cool. Hey, I'm going to be cheering for Milwaukee here. We got to cheer for anybody in the East to hold off the Celtics from winning number 19. Otherwise, this thing gets even worse by the year.
Magic Man, your thoughts? You were very descriptive from what I was reading earlier with Laker Nick. If you want to go ahead and elaborate even more with the crowd and with the audience, love to hear your thoughts. Darvin Ham is still trying to justify everything. does not even mention how dissatisfied this team was with him, which, again, whatever you say about his coaching ability, as far as how he wasn't able to make adjustments, how he refused for quite a bit of a stretch to make adjustments, we were hounding on that for quite a bit of time. His terrible comments to the press, all of that. It's the players. How are the players reacting to your, as far as your rotations, as far as your decision making? Do they have your back? Will they run, the old proverbial thing, will they run through a wall for you? These guys would probably run him through the wall as opposed to doing the exact opposite. So, your thoughts, my friend, on the comments that were made by Darvin Ham? I think he just lives in an alternate reality. Yes, he sees the black and white of what the results were for a while, as far as conference finals. Then the next year, a first round loss, declining values, as we've said on this show for this season. Your thoughts on Darvin Ham and his recent comments?
Gerald, there are four different kinds of delusions. There's mood congruent, mood non-congruent, bizarre, and non-bizarre. Now, an example of a bizarre delusion is to believe that when Gerald Glassford goes to sleep tonight, aliens will come down, replace all his blood with Kool-Aid, and he will be none the wiser.
Okay. Should I
uh,
say, oh, yeah,
so
and crash through a wall after that?
Ham has this bizarre delusion that somehow he would have been given an extension. Let's just say he doesn't coach the Los Angeles Lakers, Gerald. Let's say he coaches the Springfield Tornadoes.
Yes.
And the Springfield Tornadoes have a very decorated past as a franchise of winning championships. And the 2 seasons that this man was the coach of that team, the two star players detested his schemes, uh, thwarted his uh, influence on game planning by shooing him away, and also the entire fan base and city became so dismayed with this man that they eventually started raising Cain a little bit, and Jeannie Buss was forced to fire you. Now, if that was any other team, you would not have been given an extension whatsoever. Winning 2 playing games, getting to a Western Conference final, and winning 2 playing games. That is your claim to fame right now. Gerald, you also mentioned he failed to mention a bit of his past. Let's go a little deeper. You were an assistant for 12 years, and nobody gave you an interview before the Lakers did.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, you become a head coach, and you
Well,
get.
he had been interviewed. He had interviewed before, just never got the job in those years.
I don't think he was ever a finalist for any
Well, I
of
didn't
those.
say finalist. He was just interviewed.
Okay, fair
Yes.
enough. But I mean, it's kind of there's a process that has to be done. You have to do your due diligence. There's anyway. The point is that nobody was willing to give this guy a shot before the Lakers, and why was that? Well, maybe it's because in every stop he went, the highest he ever got was a second assistant. He was never the lead assistant on any of those teams, Gerald.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason for that. Normally, the lead assistant has the responsibility of being able to coordinate with the other coaches about their game plans of what teams they're scouting. So a lot goes into this process. Anyway, I'm digressing, but the point is that nobody ever thought really to give Darvin Ham the responsibility before the Lakers did, and there's r- more reasons to question that than there are why the Lakers fired you.
So with that, again, the Lakers are headed to Sacramento. Again, we just wanted to touch on the Darvin Ham notes, but it is trading season, guys. And the one thing I know that the D1 in there is Palinka even a man? Palinka is a man of the people. Rob Palinka is hiding in the bunker again, guys. He's doing one of his no-show acts that he always does when the Lakers are, not in a very good way. And seemingly he pops out only when things are good, Joe. So I bring it back to you. I know that Laker Tom and others out there are just trying to throw all these different trade scenarios out and whatnot. And again, the Lakers are going to have a very hard time because he has financially manipulated the team against a wall and backed them up against a financial wall, $30,000 away from being in the second tax apron. So there are limitations on what he can do, who he can get, and what he can trade for. And if needed, they're going to find a third, possibly even a fourth team in order to facilitate trades. Your thoughts? Does he start feeling the heat at some point this season? And does he do a trade just to make a trade? Does he get a little bit itchy trigger finger? I said in the description, does he get an itchy trigger finger and just makes a trade just to make a trade, Joe?
No, if he had done that, he would have traded for DeJounte Murray last year.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if he makes a trade or not. He's never going to be good at this position. There could be a workaround on the intricacies of the current CBA that we don't know about. I'm interested in seeing who the first team will be to do that. If you look back at the Paul Gasol trade, Aaron McKee, and I had no idea at the time that you could do this. Aaron McKee was sitting at home. They called him up and said, "Hey, how would you like to make a couple mil?" I'm totally, reenacting this and with no inside knowledge. It's just likely it went this way with some paraphrasing. "Hey, Aaron, how'd you like to make a couple $1,000,000 for doing nothing or to be traded?" Yeah.
The Keith Bogan special. He did that on Magic.
Sure.
Magic, didn't he do that like on 2 or 3 occasions? He was like, yeah.
So
maybe the third time, but twice.
Yeah.
So we I didn't know that you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time I'd heard anything like that. Then years later, swaps. All of a sudden, swaps becomes this thing. Didn't ever hear about swaps during the Paul Gasol trade. Didn't hear any swaps during the Shaq trade. Didn't hear any swap lingo when they traded for Glenn Rice. Never heard swaps until recently. So because I don't have time to go read a 700-page 2024-2025 collective bargaining agreement, I have to kind of work with what I can retain at the moment. And
read the abbreviated Larry Kuhn version. He always updates it.
I know. But if you see the stuff I read all day, the last thing you want to do is come home and read more.
You remember, though, earlier this year, there was the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. And in order to complete the trade, they utilized players that had played on the team last season. There was somebody that played in Europe that they actually had to pay for Europe, get him off his team so that they could sign him, so that they could trade him, and then the other team could waive him so he could go back on the European team. Yes.
Very strange.
Will there be an adjustment? Sure. But I would like to ask the question to Adam Silver that no one seems to ask him in these times of low ratings. Mr. Silver, Commissioner Silver, do you think that eliminating the 2 times during the year when football isn't really being played and you're the star league of that time, don't you think that played a part in why people aren't watching the game as well? It was exciting to see players' movement. You know why? Because all the whining, crying little babies brought you attention. And then, of course, the ones that are happy that their team got that player. Player movement in the NBA was one of the more exciting parts of the NBA, and they ruined that because you probably listened to all the jackasses about the decision, about Durant going to the Golden State Warriors. Okay, folks, if looking at it from a business standpoint, I'm not talking about Durant going and creating the easy path. Forget about that. We're talking business now. The ratings during the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors, when have those two teams ever really drawn anything in the NBA? Well, they did when Durant went to Golden State and LeBron was in Cleveland. And what did you do? You pissed that away even. Like, you got your kind of dream scenario anyways. You have this small market team that's in the finals every year. And then you had now they're in San Francisco, but at that time they were in Oakland. Oakland is not necessarily a big market. So now, like, you killed yourself when you already sort of had it. It depends on the talent. And a lot of the reasons why those things happened was because LeBron came back to Cleveland, another player movement, right? Durant, player movement himself from Oklahoma City to Golden State. And then you also had a sprinkle of Kyrie Irving getting drafted, Klay Thompson got drafted. You had a blend of it. What's wrong with that? Are you still mad? Or are those owners in New Orleans and Charlotte, Minnesota still mad that they're not there? Dude, you can't make everyone happy. But you had the best of both worlds, and then you created what you created now, which is now, do they adjust or do they keep putting this useless tournament in December on with very little ratings? And does it matter when you sign a $76 billion TV deal? Does it really matter?
Well, let me ask you a question, Joe. You've seen there's been evidence of other great sports who have fallen by the wayside. Horse racing was the sport of kings at one point, and in America it was huge. And now you see the Triple Crown, basically. That's what horse racing has become in the United States. And boxing was huge. And boxing killed itself. And now,
why did it? And tell me, Sean, you're a coxman, right? Tell me what killed boxing. Your assumption.
Personally,
what do you think killed boxing? There's a combination of stuff that you can't control and you sort of get, but ultimately, what was it?
They lost the ability to market a heavyweight.
So by not being able to market the heavyweight, the reason why that happened is is it the promoters that like the Don King's kind of becoming?
That's my gut instinct, Joe.
Okay, so here's what happened. Here's my diagnosis. A lot of these 6'5", 250-pound boxers, 6'4", 6'5", are playing tight end in the NFL now.
Right.
They don't want to get punched in the face, right? Totally understandable. And I understood why the heavyweight division kind of went down because of that reason. It's just that those guys, you get hit, it's not good. Doesn't matter how good you are as a heavyweight. You get hit by another trained heavyweight, your ass is going down. You can ask Lennox Lewis. Twice lost to inferior fighters. He got revenge back, but he got his ass knocked out by inferior fighters because they got that shot in, right? So you don't have the Lennox Lewises and the Riddick Bows, and then you have the physical specimens like an absolute pugilist like Evander Holyfield, and then of course Mike Tyson's a whole different story. You don't have those guys anymore, and the marketing, you're right, isn't there because the promoters right now, Bob Arum is still, I guess, slithering around. Don King is still alive, but he's obviously not doing what he used to do. No one picked up the slack with what those guys used to do. As a matter of fact, Floyd Mayweather might be the best promoter of the last decade, and he's been out of that real boxing for what now, 5-6 years? He was the last great promoter because he was able to get $200 million paydays, and he'd get guys like Pacquiao and Conor McGregor $100 million paydays. Maybe he should have stuck to that job a little bit more, but again, he wasn't fighting, so I know it's not as easy when you're not the actual attraction. But the reason why boxing went down is I truly believe that at some point the talent went under. And when you don't have the talent, usually people aren't going to come watch. The NBA and NFL and Major League Baseball and hockey are always going to have talent. Even though they're not charismatic like a Jokic or a Wembanyama, they're still talented and they're still always going to be afloat. And whether the ratings are down or not, we can sit here and complain about it all we want. I just don't. I don't think those things are ever going to go away.
But do you read the comments specifically about why there seems to be a lack of interest in the NBA today, Joe?
Was it the 3-point shot?
That's one of them. One of them.
Okay. I know that there was during 2020, there was a lot of disdain for what was going on behind or outside off the court, but now that's done. So what is it? Is it participation?
Yes.
Yes.
That's big.
Yes.
Load management has caused desert of casual fans now, because even the casual fan was willing to watch the talent play, as you've said that the league has talent, but when that talent either is hurt or decides to take a maintenance day, I'm just going to take a maintenance day, and people draw an ire to that because they're thinking, I could be watching something else right now or doing something else right now.
It's a combination of a couple things too. Look what Durant said about this 4-ring circus that Silver's doing for the All-Star game. If your players don't like a game where they're being showcased, how are you going to get their full attention? How about play? And it's both their faults. How do you not get into a room and talk to these guys? I go, does everything have to always be about money? You motherfuckers are making 60 and 50 and 40 and 30 million a year. You can't just promote your sport because you want to promote it. You have to always get paid for every second. Go ahead.
You brought something up there, just shook my old memory bank. This is not uncommon with the NBA, Joe. I'll give you a description of what happened before, okay? And you tell me if you see similarity. Steve Nash and Kobe Bryant complained to the NBA that the new basketball is trash. It feels horrible. The bounce is terrible. And what did they do the following day, Joe? They doubled down on it, said it was great. They got good feedback on it. And what happened a week later? They changed the ball back. You know why they changed the ball back, Gerald?
Why is that?
Because they did a very, very, very quiet straw poll about the response to the ball by the players, and it was unanimous that it was awful. And they didn't want that released to the public. But this is go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, the thing that we have to understand at this point is the leagues don't care about us anymore. They care about the gamblers and the gambling companies and the people that want to go to these games and jerk off in front of the Titantrons.
And as Chris Mad Dog Russo said, you have to watch the Steelers Chiefs game on Netflix because the NFL and Roger Goodell wants somebody in Rome or Paris or
Yeah.
Pakistan
Yeah.
to see the game.
And they're gonna watch it, and they're gonna get high ratings watching a football game on an app.
Oh my God, Joe, your
That's
face right now.
that's and I have to watch this game without being able to access technology in 2024, now going into 2025. And of course, they do have some next level technology where, what is it? What do they have on Amazon where you can see it like it's Madden?
Yes.
If I want to play Madden, I'll go play Madden. Can I watch a football game without some of the bullshit attached to it? Seriously. Seriously. I don't want to have my game dependent on an internet connection. Well, Joe, they use a satellite. Sean, every single internet setup in my house is through an Ethernet connection
Okay.
for that
All right,
reason,
Joe.
right? I can only do so much. My movie collection is through a server that's connected directly into wherever I go with my cell phone or my TVs. I know how this works. I think I know what helped them too in making these decisions is that they've made it hard to be that in a lot of ways they've kind of tried to create it. When I turn on my TV without the direct TV box, which I have in all my other rooms other than the main one, it's very difficult to stop, rewind, and forward.
Okay.
Why? Because now you have to, if you screw it up, you're, oh shit, it's lagging, it's whatever. And they made it difficult. They made it difficult to fast forward now. Now you're just like, I don't want to mess with it. I'll just listen to the commercials. Whereas when you have a box, it's like this, right? Now, before I was on the Lakers fast break, there were many days where I would pause the Laker game for about 30 minutes. And I'd go through the entire game in hour and 20 minutes. Yes. I don't like the squeeze plays or the compactos because they take out too much of the game. I don't like when they do that. I wish they had figured out a way to cut everything except the actual gameplay. You want to cut out the free throws, that's fine, but you got to keep the game. By the way, the picture right now with Sean is actually funnier than the one I just saw. Are you guys seeing this? It's Anthony Davis's body with Sean's head on it. Are you guys seeing it? I think I got LeBron's. Hold on, let me go down here. How about now? You guys see me? It's hard because you can see my shoulders, but Sean is just a head on the TV right now, so it looks perfect. It looks like he's about to run. Yeah, it's look, none of it matters. These guys have analytics, they have their marketing people. These guys this is a multi-billion dollar industry. Nothing we say matters.
But you know that every new concept or idea they've come up with, Joe, has been stale. Like they haven't hit on anything yet. Like here's the thing, right? You read recently where Manfred talked about the golden bat.
Yeah.
That's I see the face that you're making, but I mean at least baseball's trying something to liven up the game play
I
a
think
little
they've
bit.
done great. And one of the things I wish the NBA would adopt, when there's a close call at first, there's a guy in the dugout that goes, and it takes about 5 to 10 seconds. If it's a legitimate replay, it's done in a timely manner. Great. The auto umps, they're testing them right now in the minor leagues. Just think tennis. That's what they're going to turn it into. Tennis where the ball is going to be in a certain area and you never have to deal with the John McEnroe thing again, right? Great. Baseball is getting to that point. creating the DH in the NL. If you had asked me this 20 years ago, Sean, if you asked me 20 years ago, should you have a DH in the NL? I would have said absolutely effing not. I said, I like to have the differences. I like when they go into the World Series that they have to play within that league's rules. I thought it gave it an elegance of separation like it used to. Kind of gave it that fundamental thing. However, with the way baseball turned into this analytical just dynamo, it's essentially a free out because those guys are never going to get a hit. They're never going to get a hit now. Like I bet you if they had kept those guys in there, it just wouldn't work out. The style of baseball has changed. How they deal with this Tommy John issue is actually the one I'm looking at right now because I'm fairly happy with how baseball's done things. The shift, the elimination of, they didn't necessarily eliminate the shift, but they made you say, hey, look, just like an illegal procedure in football, you can't line the tackle can't line up way deep to prepare for the edge rusher. You gotta be at the line. I thought that's a great rule in football, by the way. I highly support it. That's what they did with the shift, and I think baseball was good for it this year. I thought it worked very well. I thought you saw better fielding and better results from it. Kurt, if you came to me and said I need a yes or no, I'm fairly confident that Teoscar is going to be back. Yes, but as far as the NBA is going to have to make a commitment, I think, in the next 5 to 10 years on expanding the court. I think that's probably a big one that they got to see if they can do.
So you're talking about introducing a 4-point play?
No, too gimmicky. I think it's enough to get the 3 because then they'll be shooting 4-pointers all day. I don't want that. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take back that line. There was a suggestion that they would eliminate the corner 3. That's too gimmicky as well. I want it to be exactly the same way.
For what dimensions are you widening it?
You're widening it from all 4 areas. Well, all 3.
Okay, all 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. From the, so if you're looking at the court, you got the width, right? The width when you're looking at it from the announcer's table.
Yes.
You got the width, right? So that right there is going to have to. I guess you could probably keep that, but you're going to have to take. Am I doing this right?
So you're eliminating.
I'm sorry. The width is front and back when you're looking at it from the announcer's table.
You're eliminating front court.
You got to expand that, which means you got to push back those guys that are sitting up front, and then where the guys are at this on the bench, and then you got to move the 3-point line a little bit farther.
So if you're doing that, then I would suggest you also leave space for if a player falls or something that they don't go into the crowd.
Yeah. You have to lose probably 1 row.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. For a couple other reasons too. I remember in the finals that jackass from the Warriors pushed Kyle Lowry, and a lot of other factors. But I think you should eliminate just the front row there, Joe. Exactly.
Yeah, you can't, Jeremy. It's the cat's out of the bag. You can't really do that anymore. These guys are too good at shooting. It's not gonna. That's never gonna change.
But that's the only logical fix is to widen the court.
Yeah, you can't limit. You can't go in there. You can't go to the teams and go, oh, by the way, you have a 15 3-point limit each game. That's not going to work. You have to.
It'd be harder to follow for the fans.
You have to expand the court. You're talking about people who can jump higher, that are more athletic, that can run faster, that can shoot farther than ever before. Well, you're going to have to expand that court, just like you expanded the paint for Wilt Chamberlain. It's that simple. You're going to have to lose that front row.
It was expanded twice, one for Mike and one for Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I know Chamberlain told Michael that they made the rules for you and they took it away from me. I always say you had you still should have won more than 2 titles. Wilt, you were good enough to win those, but you didn't have the focus. I wasn't there for it. I wasn't able to watch him, but I've read enough material on Wilt Chamberlain. There's no way that guy should have gone 2-4 in the finals in his career. That guy should have won a lot more. Definitely in '69 when they played the Celtics when he was first in, or actually I think it was the second year in LA. Was that second year in LA? No, he came in '68. Sorry. And then losing to the Knicks in '70 and '73. No, sorry. Well, rules change or not, should have done better.
Do you guys even want to discuss the new All-Star arrangement?
I have very
Durant
little.
Hates it. He already is on the record saying.
I just saw the details like 2 hours before we got on. Now, when I say I saw the details, I didn't really get a chance to dissect it. I'd say we could probably talk about it tomorrow, if I can do it remotely, because I'll be on the road tomorrow.
Fair enough.
Joe,
go ahead, Sean.
Joe, do you have a favorite rule change in the NBA?
Of all time?
Yeah.
You think you know what I'm going to say?
I don't know. I think I may. Yeah.
I can definitely tell you I know what the one I hated the most.
Mm-hmm.
The best rule change. Jeez. All time, right? Not since I've been watching?
Yeah, just like what? Yeah, yours.
I would say probably my favorite is the inclusion of the 3-point line.
Okay.
That would be number 2. I would say freeing up the slam dunk, waiving that you couldn't slam dunk rule. That's number 1. But yeah, 3-point is after that.
Yeah, 3-point is huge. My favorite NFL rule change is the 2-point conversion.
Mine is the big balls dance is no longer allowed in the NBA.
The zone being implemented in the NBA is the one I hate the most. That one affected the Lakers more than any rule change, in my opinion, especially during the Shaq Kobe era.
So with that, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro and Magic Man Sean Grice.
That's a discussion I'd love to talk to Shaq about, by the way. Sorry, Gerald. It's a
great
question you asked. I would love to talk to Shaq about that, because I think he could articulate it even more. I don't think anybody's ever asked Shaq how he felt about the zone being implemented after the 2002 finals. I
mean, and it basically, it was almost coinciding with Kobe's hand check rule.
The David Stern's hate. My David Stern's hatred started after 2002. Not hatred. I'm sorry. My dislike for him, because I grew up in the 90s and I was very, very focused on sports, especially at that time. What was great about sports at that time is you had the greatest sportscasters that ever existed in the 90s. And it was like the 50s and 60s of baseball, when you had the Willie Mays and the Hank Aaron's and the Bob Gibsons. I mean, there was so many iconic, just unbelievably popular people that were really good at what they did. Dan Patrick, Keith Olbermann, Stu Scott, Linda Cohn, Hannah Storm. I mean, geez, I could go on, and even the guys like Ahmad Rashads, and just there was so many great sports. Hell, Vince Cellini and Fred Hickman used to do CNN SI, and I used to watch that. Actually, I was watching that more than SportsCenter for a while. I just liked how their setup was. I really liked Vince Cellini. Every time he was on, I liked listening to him talk. And Fred Hickman was awesome. It wasn't until he fucked up the Shaq thing before he started getting heat. But Fred Hickman was great. Just amazing talent. And then you had Michael Jordan being the greatest athlete that ever lived at that point. And you had the protection. He had the protection of his league, whereas Kobe and Shaq started doing their thing, and I'm feeling pretty excited that hey, in a billion years, I would have never imagined my Lakers getting a Michael Jordan. We had a Michael Jordan on our team, and then we happened to have Wilt, a reincarnation of Wilt on top of that. I'm just like, dude, the Lakers are going to own the 2000s. We're going to win like 8 championships. But what happened? Oh wait, let me figure out what to do with the handshake thing. Oh wait, let me put the zone here so we can slow down Shaq. Why? Why didn't you embrace the greatness? And he never did. But anyways, yeah, 3-point shot I think is probably my favorite because a lot of the little rules that came about, I don't really. I mean, like what transcendent rule change really positive happened in the last 20 to 30 years? Am I drawing a blank here? Not remembering. I don't think there has been anything that's been transcending.
Not really. I mean, the
No.
handshake rule, like you said.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Handshake rule, I understood. I know you want to have. It's just like the 5-yard bump in football when they called it the Mel Blount rule. Mel Blount used to beat the Jesus out of Drew Pearsons and all those guys. Man, if they had played the Cowboys, was it that year that they played the Cowboys? Oh, actually, they did play the Cowboys when the rule changed. I wonder if they had won the Super Bowl in '75 against Dallas if they had that rule because that was Dallas's best team. But anyways, rule change, 3-point shot. The one I hate the most is the zone.
Current Affairs says 3 in the key.
They don't call that a lot either.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do that all the time on playback. Just like holding on every play in football, you could count 3 seconds on every offensive play.
You know what would stop holding in the NFL?
What's that?
And I think a lot of the reasons why they won't do this is because they don't want the quarterback to get killed. Make it a 15-yard penalty.
It's
Go ahead,
it's not it's not earth shattering or anything, but I guess the only real minute small change that the NBA made was the Harden rule, where you can not initiate contact with the defender and still draw a foul.
That's a good one, Sean. That's a good one. That's more of a Reggie Miller rule. Really.
The leg kick, it's more of an upper leg kick.
I do like another one. I like not hovering around when the guy's up in the air so he can roll his ankle. I like that too.
No safe place to land. Bruce Bowen used to pull that fucking shit all the time. With
See, now it's opening up. Thank you for doing that, by the way. Now, the 4-point play. Before, it wasn't like that. Beyond the 3. I don't know what year it was. I think it was 04, 03.
So around there, yeah.
Around there, right? So that I like. Three shots if you get fouled and the 4-point play.
Oh, he wouldn't even let you land. He would time his foot placement to when you were landing.
Yeah.
He would intentionally try and sprain your ankle. Well, it's no surprise all those guys have played together, Gerald.
Yes.
Bruce Bowen, Zaza Pachulia. These guys all played together. They all.
But they're gonna have to expand.
Gerald. I never thought Bruce Bowen should have gotten the unwavering kudos that he got for his defense. A lot of it was he was just able to jam you up and play very physical. I don't think he was a great one-on-one defender. I think he gets way too much credit for kind of being one of those Mamba stoppers. don't put yourself in a Shane Battier or Tony Allen or Ron Artest arc, please.
Jeremy's asking, I feel like I'm the only one who's salty that the Golden State got Schroeder. I don't think Schroeder coming back for a third time was ever going to be in the cards, Jeremy. I just don't think, if Schroeder was such a good thing for the Lakers, why didn't you just keep him in the first place? So
probably for what Schroeder's more of a defiant type player. Even in this situation, he was quoted as kind of being irritated that he had to move again.
Thank you to Darren V. Intel, long time no see on the super chat. Hope Laker Nation has been good to you. Do not let Trevor Lane make you a fanboy. There you go. So,
Trevor
Sean?
Lane.
Yeah, Gerald. Would it be a fair argument to say that all the rule changes for Wilt were based on his size and his efficiency, and the ones for Shaq were based on his physical strength? I mean,
I agree.
Hackashak, and they changed the height, and did they change also the weight of the stanchion as well, Gerald, after Shaq demolished them?
Yes, I do think that's the case. That's what they did. They made it more reinforced. But with Wilt, it was just because he was just so much larger and so much more dominating than anyone else at that period of time. It's not even funny. It's not even close. Wilt was such a dominant star and so great during that era. That's one thing I wish I would have been able to see him. I was only alive at the tail end of his career, and of course, I was just still barely in diapers at that point in time, so I never really got to see him play live. And again, just seeing him later on in his acting career, you could just still see just how large of a man he was. But just imagine how he was, when he was playing in the 60s, just how dominant he was as an individual. So, of course, they had to make rules to, try and combat that. But, I'm glad that they finally acquiesced and took all those rules away.
Wasn't he also like a world-class volleyball player? Like if volleyball was an Olympic sport, Wilt Chamberlain would be on the United States volleyball team, Gerald.
Yes. Ralph D says Wilt was going against plumbers and World War II soldiers. Joe, sounds a little like JJ's comment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so is Elgin Baylor.
Of course, Ralph says he was just kidding, Joe. My parents weren't even alive for Wilt. So.
Funny how all these great players back then were like, they were going up against barbers and plumbers and farmers. Yeah, but they were also going up against Bob Cousy, Oscar Robertson.
First of all, the reason why those guys were plumbers and farmers and blacksmiths is because the NBA didn't pay enough for them not to be. If anything, that's a stronger, tougher guy. The guy went and worked 8 hours a day and then went and played basketball. Oh, and by the way, Wilt played 48 minutes a game for an entire year.
He played more than 48
Which one
minutes.
Of these assholes are ever going to do that? I don't give a shit who he was playing against. If you think they weren't playing against men back then, guys that were in World War II, you think those guys weren't tougher than these pansies? Come on.
Wilt played every minute of that season, including every minute of overtime.
I extrapolated and I did this because John Sally is blitz out of his ass. Every time I hear him talk now, it's full. He's becoming like Sean, the guy that played Carlo in The Godfather. I forgot his real name. You know how he's known as a Fugazi?
Yeah, Fugazi.
Okay. John Sally's turning into that guy in the basketball world. Ever since he said that Phil Jackson kept Kobe from getting 100 points, I have been on him. I'm like, dude, you are so full of shit. You have no idea. That's a lie. That's a blatant lie.
Yeah, he wasn't even on the team. So
there's no way Phil Jackson or Kobe or anyone on the planet that day could have known that Kobe was going to drop 81 that day. Kobe ran his normal minutes in the first half. He played all the first quarter, sat the first 5 minutes of the second, played out the second, and then he went on his run in the second half. No one thought. He scored 26 points in the first half. He was doing that almost every game. No, he just ended up dropping 55 in the second half. That was the part that was the surprise. Now, he played 42 minutes. If he had played 6 more minutes based off of what he scored that night, he would have scored almost 92 points that night had he played all 48 minutes. He still wouldn't have made it to 100. Again, this is a perimeter player. Wilt was a center.
Yes.
Something that folks, if for those of you who are watching, I'm glad I was able to explain this. If you come at someone with conviction, you better know what the fuck you're talking about, because every once in a while, somebody who knows what's going on is going to clown you out. I don't give a shit who it is. I don't care if you played in the NBA for 30 years. I don't care if you're the best coach that ever lived. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Don't make shit up. Don't lie. Because I think that's a disrespect to Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson asked Brian Shaw during the Dallas game when Kobe dropped 62 in the first 3 quarters, does Kobe want to go back in? Kobe told Brian Shaw, and Brian Shaw said it with his own words. Nah, I'll get it next time. Don't ask me. Don't ask Joe. Go ask Brian Shaw. He said it, and it's on tape. So don't say that Phil Jackson was holding shit back. He said something like, "Oh, some records are not meant to be broken." Phil Jackson doesn't talk like that. He doesn't talk like that.
By the way, he would have played all 12 minutes in the fourth quarter. He scored roughly about 34 points. And he would have fallen just short of 102, but shit.
Yeah. I actually again ran the numbers on that one. He would have scored, I think, 2 points less than the 81-point game, because everybody likes to talk about, ooh, that game he was actually on more. I'm like, no, he wasn't.
No, not really.
Yeah. The 81-point game was the game of games.
The only reason it felt like he was on more that game was because Dallas was playing like shit. He had outscored the whole team by himself.
Yeah. And we would have never saw 81 if they were destroying. That was the only game. That was really the only game, except, I mean, what did he score in that Arenas game when Arenas dropped 60?
56.
Was it like that? Yeah, that was probably the only game that I can remember where he was dropping 50 and 60 and he didn't win. Like, usually he was winning by a lot. I think those are the only 2 games I don't remember, the Toronto game and that game against Arenas. I missed that game live too. I was so pissed off. I couldn't. Anyways, yeah, just be careful. Know your shit. Stop lying.
Before we head on out, Jeremy has a question in the chat. And once again, you can go ahead and stop on by the chat right here at the Lakers Fast Break. He is asking about Christian Coloco. This might not be the answer you want to hear, Jeremy, but how do we rate Christian Coloco's performance so far? Magic Man, I'll start with you, my friend. Christian Coloco, you knew him well from his time in Toronto. He did have obviously the blood clotting issue that kept him out for an entire year. And he's come back. He's on a 2-way, so he's got a limited number of games he can play for the team. He's had to play some of those games in recent days because of the fact that Jackson Hayes is still out with his ankle injury. He did not travel with the team, by the way. Just want to let everybody know Jackson Hayes is still going to be out for a little while longer. Christian Wood still going to be out for a little while longer, although he is, I believe, participating somewhat in practice, limited as far as participation. I believe is the latest that we got yesterday on that. So with that, your assessment of Christian Coloco, my friend.
Okay, Gerald.
Here we go.
We'll be nice. We'll be nice to Christian.
Yeah, I gotta give it, like, it's like Kurt Affairs, right? He hasn't played in a year and a half, so yeah.
So let's just say there are 4 boxes and you can tick one. Okay, all right. First box is surprising. Second box is expected level of play. Third is satisfactory. Fourth is unsatisfactory. What would you tick, Gerald?
Well, I remember Laker Tom's thoughts when when this team got Koloko, saying that Koloko would be the next great Lakers center. Um, of all the Laker Tomisms that he's ever made, I'm just going to say this one is a top 5 miss, and that's a mighty big list because there's a lot of things that he has said on Laker Tomisms that have been out there. In fact, I'm going to be probably rubbing in on him if Anthony Davis has another bad weekend here from the 3-point line. I'll be sharing that with him pretty soon. But this is one of his bigger faux pas. I'd say Christian Koloko has been, again, I want to put things in context because he has been out a year and a half, but he's not helping the Lakers consistently anytime soon.
No, I would say it's unsatisfactory. It's a results business. It's a results game. The results haven't been there.
Yes. Joe, your thoughts on Christian Koloko before we head on out?
I unfortunately sometimes don't even know he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to have Jackson Hayes in there. But you have to feel the big somewhere, because if you don't have Koloko, who do you have now? You're gonna put Gabe Vincent at power forward or center.
Well, DJ Benga ain't coming through that door.
Yeah, DJ Benga and his black belt and Taekwondo ain't coming through that.
Judge Powell ain't coming through that door.
Rob Sacre ain't coming through that door, folks.
Earl Jones, baby. Earl Jones ain't coming through that door. And I just mentioned Chuck Nevitt already because Darren.
I think that's too old. I think you can still get away with it.
Darren, in his full hatred of LeBron, said, "Is LeBron the greatest garbage time player ever?" And my response, no, Chuck Nevitt.
Oh, Chuck Nevitt.
Hey, I have a response to that. He's not the greatest garbage time player, but he is the greatest stat patter against bad teams without anyone close to being second.
Not even Westbrook?
The greatest, huh?
Not even Westbrook? Because Westbrook on OKC
played the same way against anybody. Because they knew, just let him go, let him.
Remember when he used to fight other players on his own team so he get rebounds?
Russell Westbrook, it didn't matter if they played the number 1 team or the 30th team. He was going to do Russell Westbrook things because the coaches told everybody, just let him do his thing. He's gonna spot everybody out.
We don't want to hear his shit. Yeah, we don't want to hear his shit after the game.
LeBron, by far, the greatest shit team player without anybody even being close.
So, Darren,
he did a lot of that in the playoffs.
Do not misquote me, Darren. I said Chuck Nevitt is the greatest garbage time player ever. Not even dealing with JaVale McGee. I don't know how you bring in JaVale McGee into this situation.
JaVale McGee was integral, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Well, that's Darren. Darren has a blinding hatred.
Darren, are you bipolar, Darren?
Yeah.
You say one thing good, and then literally the next comment is crack worthy. Like, what's going on? Are you messing with us?
He said, "Yes, he is, Gerald. Are you saying McGee is better?" JaVale McGee, when he played for us in 2020, was an integral part of a championship team.
Yes, he was better. He was the AC Green of the 2020 championship team. He started every game, did his business, and then that's when they shifted to AD going to the center like they did with Ori during that time.
James Edwards.
That too. I think James Edwards was better, though.
I mean, Darren, we all know again, and if you hate LeBron, by all means, keep hating LeBron. Again, we're just trying to be observers of LeBron as far as unbiased. We're not LeBron stans, not LeBron haters. We're just call it like we see it out there on the floor. And that's what we do. But I understand you have a blinding hatred for LeBron, like many others right now.
Yeah, I
because
would
you
say
guys,
so. Christian
yes,
Coloco is a cross
yeah,
between right now Robert Swift and Jackson Hayes.
there you go. All right, that's a very low bar when you went to Robert Swift, but okay, there you go.
Very low.
Yes, but yeah, LeBron James again. A lot of the people in this chat
Gerald,
want him to be
Gerald, Gerald,
gone. That's
Gerald,
fine. We're
Gerald.
all good.
Gerald. At one point, the Seattle Supersonics, who were on their way out, had Mohamed Sanu at center, Robert Swift at center, and Vladimir Palipatenko at center. That's
Potapenko. There you go.
And he was in the arguably the greatest draft of all time too.
Yeah, he was.
96.
Although he wasn't, he's only a footnote in it.
Jeremy,
he's the
he has-
Samaki Walker of that group, and Samaki Walker was in that group. He was the white Samaki Walker of Samaki Walker's group.
Potapenko.
That's the other guy that really drove me nuts.
Darren
was
says
Samaki
they are
Walker.
just jealous. I watched West and Wilt play and saw Wilt block Kareem Sky. You know what? We are jealous that you did.
I'm
that
not jealous
I
of
will
anything.
agree. I will say I'm jealous that you
I'm
got
not
to
jealous
watch
of
that.
anyone and anything.
Okay,
Ever.
well, I said I am.
I know. Congratulations. But I just want to let
Yes.
Darren know that. We don't get jealous here. Or at least I don't.
Yes. All right. Would I've liked to seen that live? Yes. Yes, I would, Darren. And again, if you hate LeBron, by all means, keep hating LeBron. Again, is it best for the organization? We've discussed that in detail. We've already said our various opinions on it, trying to be as unbiased as we can on the subject. Would we like it if there was a different situation? Yes, but there's not. LeBron has full control of the situation, so I don't even deal with it. I don't
Darren,
even
are you going
worry
to
about
listen
it.
or what?
Joe.
What did we just say?
What was the supposed?
He agreed with you.
What was the supposed object of your jealousy?
Who, me?
No, Joe.
Joe, he said he wasn't jealous of anything.
I don't get jealous.
Yeah, no, you said that to Darren. What just
Oh, what was the genesis of it?
yeah.
I think Gerald used we, and I wanted to correct Gerald.
Yes, I should. I'm glad I'm corrected. Yes, it was just me. So,
Yeah.
yes, there you go.
I have
All
no
right.
idea.
It was really
Okay.
more directed at Gerald, not Darren.
Yes, Sunui. There you go.
Here's where I will direct things to Darren. Darren, LeBron is not a stat patter. That's Westbrook. That's what Westbrook does. What LeBron did during his career is he was the best stat creator against the bad teams because he played in a weak conference. And then if you factor in the 5 or 6 teams in the West that were ass, 10 to 12 more games, right, during the year where he could put up his stats. Think about that for a second. Think about it. From 2009 till 2018, who was dominant in that conference? Like dominant. I think Cleveland was the only close to dominant team, but maybe Miami in 2012. They still needed the 7 to get past the Celtics, the old AARP Celtics.
There were a couple teams that would swap 55, 60 win seasons.
But that's easy, Sean, when they were playing in the East.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I get pissed off about the MVPs not going to Kobe in 09 and 10. Kobe had 7 game winners in 2010. 4 were buzzer beaters. And I think half of them they were down. The Miami one and the Milwaukee one, they were down in both those games. How the hell is that guy not the MVP? He had a 1 seed that year. Had he missed half those, he would have probably been a 4 seed. I don't know. I remember those years vividly. Competition matters, folks. Kobe still leads.
It was always the narrative, but I get it, Joe. I totally get it. That's the West Coast. Let me tell you the East Coast. the East Coast narrative was that LeBron basically, through Herculean strength and power, willed a Cleveland team that has no business winning 55, 60 games to perennial 55, 60 win seasons with no help whatsoever. They can't recruit anybody to come help him. There's the obvious bias from East Coast writers and voters that Kobe is in LA. He's got Dr. Bus and whatever he wants in the palm of his hand, even though that's not true. But there's always going to be an unconscious bias against Kobe because he's on the West Coast and because he plays for the Lakers. Joe, there's an inherent advantage that they could always attract a star or two. LeBron never got that benefit of the doubt. That was also one thing that played a part in why he continually won MVPs.
And on that note, Darren, I just love Darren. Darren, we appreciate you being such a great part of the LFB. I know you hate LeBron.
How many glasses of wine?
Darren, we want to thank you for
hold on.
bipolar and trollish. Sincerely,
don't forget,
Gerald Glassford.
He's been shut up, Joe. He's been mentioning the fake assists as of late. I think that's his new thing. It's the fake assists for LeBron. So
fake assists.
Fake assists. He says, where did he put it? When the player makes a move and dribbles and then takes a shot, it's not an assist.
What? What the hell's a fake assist?
Darren is part of the rules committee.
Now, if you're talking hockey, hockey assist, I'll agree with you. But there's no hockey assist in the NBA. So what the hell are you talking about? As a matter of fact, they don't call assists sometimes on plays. I think they're assists. Hell, even Stu Lance is like, hey, man, if they make both free throws, that should be an assist. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but he makes a point at least. Literally.
He said, you just said it, Joe, stat pattern, now you're changing.
What are you talking about? I didn't even say that. Did I mention stat pattern anywhere? What did I say about putting words in my mouth? Huh?
Joe?
Yeah.
So you'd mentioned something about Kobe 50-point games and how you rarely remember him losing any.
Mm-hmm.
How many 50-point games did he have in his career?
Shoot, he did lose the one and he scored 50 in the playoffs, though, right?
How many did he have in his career?
50?
Mm-hmm.
It's in the 20s.
Yeah, 25. His record, 18-7.
Xbox is asking if LeBron should have won more or less MVPs than he did.
He should have won more, but not when Kobe was playing at his peak.
His 50-point losses, Joe, 2000 to Golden State. He lost to Phoenix in 06. Lost to Portland in 06. Houston 07. The Clippers 07. And Memphis in 08.
Before we head on out, guys.
18 is a lot, though, Sean. I remember 18 probably more than I remember 7. As far as the LeBron went with Delhi, by the way, Love and Kyrie played that year. They just got injured at the worst times of the playoffs. And by the way, LeBron should have won Finals MVP.
I don't care. I don't care about that. It didn't matter as long as David Blatt was coaching that team. They weren't going to win the finals.
The MVP after 1993 went to the shitter, in my opinion. It sounds like I'm shitting on Charles Barkley for getting it in '93, but you cannot give.
Sounds like you're shitting on David Robinson, Dirk Nowitzki.
No, you cannot give Charles Barkley MVP in '93 when Michael Jordan's playing at his peak.
Okay, so Joe, do you think that Larry Bird should give one of his MVPs to Magic Magic should give one of his MVPs to Charles Barkley, because you could make an argument that Barkley should have won the MVP that year. He got more first place votes than Magic, but because Magic got more second place votes, he won MVP.
Are
But
you talking about
Charles,
1990?
yes, Charles had a wrecking ball of a year though.
He did, but Magic went 63 and 19 that year. Granted, he got bounced in the second round, but
yeah.
but Magic had the total
I
package in 90.
So I mean, like you could split hair, like we could split hairs back and forth. I wouldn't dismiss the MVP after that year. A lot of people make the argument that Shaquille O'Neal should have won the MVP over Steve Nash.
There's a good argument there. There was a good argument there. But worse than that is, why didn't he win it in 01 and 02? I don't care how good of a year AI had, and I don't care how good of a year Tim Duncan had in 02. Those two MVPs belong with Shaquille O'Neal. He was the most dominant force between 2000 and 2002. And then Tim Duncan earned it in 03. That was his year.
He there's a lot to be said about getting more flies with honey than vinegar, Joe. And Shaq just pissed a lot of voters off.
Well, the fact that he didn't play 75 plus games, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Company time? Is that what it is? I don't think that should hold any bearing to anything. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had
Joe. I think what a lot of people translated Shaq saying that into was that I think the big one was Shaq had a sense of entitlement, whereas a guy like AI or Tim Duncan or Steve Nash, they don't come across like that.
I don't give a shit what their personality is. That motherfucker was the MVP.
So it is. Why isn't Terrell Owens in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Joe? Why isn't
he is not.
Okay, so why isn't Pete Rose in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Well, that's different circumstances. He was betting on baseball. And he pissed a lot of people off, you're right. But more so, they made an example of Pete Rose.
Okay, well, to Gerald's argument, why isn't Steve Garvey in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
That's a great question.
I can't figure that one out.
Since Scott Rowland got in, MVP, I think that opens the door
World
for a lot of things.
Champion. I mean, Dave Parker, he was better than Dave Parker, and Dave Parker just got in.
Curt Schilling may be a hate-filled, but he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, we're going to get some questions in before we go. And then also I have something.
Anyway, I'm just saying, Joe, you don't think personality should matter. It does with the voters.
I'm sorry, you can't do that.
Well, Aaron Rodgers won 4 MVPs being a total asshole.
Dick, yeah. So why is he winning 4 MVPs if he's an asshole? Look, it's about the game. Like if you did something. Look, if there are exceptions though. If somebody did if OJ hadn't been in the Hall of Fame already, yeah, okay, I get that. Hell, they were going back and forth on whether they wanted Michael Cokehead Irvin in. They finally had to relent on that. Like, look, let's try to base it off his play. I get it, but Shaquille O'Neal, no matter how obnoxious he was, there is no reason there's nothing logical you can tell me. I watched those years vividly, game in, game out. I watched more basketball between 2000 and 2010 than I've ever watched anything. You cannot give the MVP to anyone but Shaquille O'Neal between 2000 and 2002. And then in 03, Duncan, 04, KG earned it. 05, it's a toss-up. I don't really have anything against Nash that year because he revitalized Phoenix, and that was their best year to win it too.
So before we head on out, guys, again, I'm also going to drop something at the very end, but I wanted to get a couple of the questions from the chat.
And you're right, Bloodhound. I'm sorry. Jim Rice, the reason why it took a while for him to get in the Hall of Fame is because he was an asshole.
Again, Steve Garvey was better than Dave Parker.
Oh, no doubt. But
And
see,
yet Dave
Dave
Parker
Parker
just
still
got
won an
elected.
MVP at least. I don't know. I'm just
Steve Garvey won an MVP.
I know, but I'm just saying it's not for
2.
nothing. No, Garvey only won 1.
1-1. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
World
Dale
Series
Murphy
MVP.
won 2. I'm still wondering why the hell Dale Murphy is not in it. I think
Was
he's
Garvey a
sick right
World
now
Series
too.
MVP as well?
Huh?
Was Garvey a World Series MVP as well?
He was an NLCS MVP in '84 for the Padres.
Okay, but he was 2-time world
Did I
champion.
remember that? Jesus Christ, I have no life.
Just to show how arbitrary and kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Umbrage some people have with their voting responsibilities. Jill, do you remember when Dan Le Batard sold his baseball?
Yeah, the votes.
Yeah. See, Joe, like that's basically what it can amount to at this point with some of these guys.
Let's knock out a couple of these questions before we end it out. Ralph D is asking the best single season. He changed it from 1985, but the best single season by a player in the 2000s.
An NBA player?
Yes.
Shaquille O'Neal 2000.
He was 30 and 13.
He won the scoring title. He was second in rebounding, third in blocks, won the All-Star MVP. He shared it with Tim Duncan. He won Finals MVP. He won MVP. He played
the 99 to 2000 season, everybody, just let you know.
I mean, it's technically 2000 season.
Yeah, that's what I'm just
half. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal 2000 was one of the greatest seasons anybody ever had.
I agree.
And he was second in Defensive Player of the Year that year behind Zoe.
I would agree with Joe. Sean, any others?
Oh.
Tight end, Jeremy. He would have been, 13, I think the term I used 14, was 15. LeBron would have been a little bit taller version of Kellen Winslow Jr. without the raping.
There's not really a close second, Gerald.
Okay, because in case you had said Kobe, I've got the next question from JY. Hey guys, out of the 20 years Kobe played, how many of those were productive years?
15.
Okay.
14.
15.
All right. But last but not least, I wanted to go ahead and mention that ESPN put a report from Sportico. They announced their annual assessment of franchises around the world as far as sporting franchises. And lo and behold, the Dallas Cowboys are still numero uno in the U.S. with the $10.3 billion rating. But we have a new number one, guys. We talked about this last week as far as the evaluation for teams. And we talked about if Jeannie sold, what would she sell for? Well, we talked about what Forbes usually, is the company or entity that usually evaluates teams. But I guess Sportico now does it too on a yearly basis. And in doing so, they have rated the Golden State Warriors as the most valuable NBA team with $9.14 billion assessment. The Knicks are second at $8.3 billion, and the Lakers are third at just a little over $8 billion.
So you just set a price point for the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
You just said, like, that's hilarious. Whoever did that.
Brooklyn Nets come fourth, but then there's a big gap, Magic Man.
Brooklyn is fourth?
$5.7 billion because the Barclays Center is the world's highest grossing arena as of earlier this year.
They don't have one day where they don't have a concert. Barclays Center.
The LA Clippers are next, Joe, at 5, and that's going to maybe even get higher because of the Intuit Dome.
Barclay Arena is very nice, though. I've been there.
Well, there you go.
Very nice arena.
To round out the top 10, the Boston Celtics are just under the Clippers at $5.66 billion. The Chicago Bulls,
Ralph, they wouldn't sell for 8. They'd probably sell for 10 or 11, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bulls at 5.56. The Miami Heat at a straight up 5.
Well, that'd be the minimum to start now, Joe.
Probably.
10.
Houston Rockets are at 4.75, and Toronto is at 4.66. Magic Man. So right around the corner, they still have the 10th highest valued team in the NBA. The lowest three on that list are Minnesota at 3.29.
Charlotte.
Somebody tell that to Alex Rodriguez. New Orleans at just over 3, and Memphis at just over $3 billion. And there you go, guys. So we talked about it before as far as the values of these teams last week.
Who's going to listen to Alex Rodriguez in Minnesota?
Well, I'm just because of what was going on with his.
Somebody go. Oh, hey, hold on. Alex Rodriguez has something to say.
So now he knows exactly what he should be paying for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Of course, they're going to fight it out in court. But Magic Man, any thoughts?
You think Andrew Friedman calls Magic Johnson to see, should we give Teo an extra year?
I'm surprised Charlotte wasn't included in the bottom three, Gerald, actually. It's a bit of a surprise.
Maybe it's because they sold the PlayStation 5, Magic Man.
Maybe.
Didn't you see or hear the news about Charlotte Hornets taking away the PlayStation 5 from that kid after they actually had a presentation during a timeout? They were giving kids random Christmas presents. They were sitting with Santa. They would say what they want. Boom, they got what they what's an e-bike or whatever. One kid, I guess he was saying that wanted a PlayStation 5. Boom, he gets a PlayStation 5 handed to him, and then as soon as the lights are off, as soon as he goes back to the sideline, the Charlotte Hornets rep took it away from him and gave him like a jersey instead.
Are you serious?
It was just for
show.
Joe.
Yeah, Joe. It's that lame. It's that lame in Charlotte.
Sacramento, Jeremy. Sacramento. We did a full coverage earlier on the show. You've been saying,
look, man, I'll buy the kid a PS5 and lambaste Charlotte.
They
on TV.
Well, it went to PR. They took care of the kid.
Oh my god!
And they're going to give him a VIP experience.
Seriously, it is like if I was in charge of something there, I seriously would have sat down and said, "What went through your head?" I'm just curious. I can't be too derogatory because then they'll go cry to workers' comp or some shit for mental illness. But the question I'd ask is, what were you thinking? I'm just trying to do an analyzation here. What were you thinking taking away a piece of shit $300 item away from a kid? Like, what was that worth to you? Seriously.
Let me see if I can show everybody the link for after. I don't want the inside edition.
Horrible people. Horrible
you are
people in
garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, those people need to be told how pathetic they are. Like to their face and in front of every one of their family members and friends. Like straight up. You are trash.
I'm going to give you the local news report that came out, because the media is now covering it now. But, it was the local media.
Well, you traumatized the kid for no reason.
Yeah. Forget about that. Why would you give him the damn thing anyways? Like, what are you going to do with a PS5 now? You can buy 50 of them right there. Like, where are you going to go take that? That's the questions I would have asked. Like, what are you doing? Like, did you borrow it from Sony or did you pay for it? This kid, you just changed this kid's life in that moment. Believe me, I remember when I got the Nintendo on my birthday. I remember
when I got the Atari 2600.
I was playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out until 3 a.m. I had never stayed up that late in my life, except that night. This kid would have been a Charlotte Hornet fan probably as long as you guys are there, unfortunately. And you pissed it away. All for what? $300? What's the PS5 now? $300?
No, the PS5 is $400 right now.
All right, $400. Okay. I hope it was worth it. Being a piece of shit. God, I hate people, man. Jesus Christ.
I put the link for the video in the chat, so you want to go ahead and check it
Yeah,
out.
but Gerald, you know it's not. You know, Joe's not just talking about that in one individual. You've got stage producers, you have directors, you've got people in charge who you think would have enough common sense to know this stuff, don't you?
You would think that, especially if it was a PR guy that did it for sure. You should know, as a golden rule PR in 2024 with social media, that's going to get out there. You won't look
Forget
good.
about that. Forget about that. I don't give a shit about that stuff. I'm talking about the kid. I'm talking about the kid. Fuck the sponsors. Fuck your mistresses. I don't give a shit who is there. I'm talking about the kid. How do you do that to a kid? You piece of shit.
That's really low.
Seriously.
Oh, but they got a Charlotte Hornets jersey.
Get an
instead,
adult.
though.
Get an adult, okay? You want to get an adult. Okay, I'll give you this. Get a 19-year-old and say, hey, look, we're going to play it off. You're going to accept it. You think you got it. Not a kid. The kid doesn't know. And even if you did tell him, he's still going to be like, oh, but I really want it. Just
No, Jeremy.
absolutely mind-boggling how stupid. I mean, seriously, the amount of stupidity in decision-making in this world, it's mind-boggling that, and there's not enough people calling these people out. There's not enough people calling them out and embarrassing these people, because it will matter. You know how many times I've been in a situation where I know that this particular person acts like this when I'm not around? Guess what happens? They don't ever remember. Actually, I should say they always remember after somebody calls them out, because they want to be the tough guy, right? Oh, because most people are not confrontational. Most people either ignore it, they'll go back home, talk to their husbands, their wives, and say, oh, I met somebody. Fuck that. Talk to that person right there. I don't care, old man, old woman. I don't give a shit who it is. Like, if you are rude to somebody needs to call your ass out. I'm not asking to go get shot by somebody. You got to still kind of get an idea of where you are. But the point is, do a public service. If I was there, probably would have never happened. That's the thing. That's the irony in this discussion.
What if they did it to you, one of your daughters?
You're giving this kid the PS5, okay? Don't fuck it up.
When did they hold on, Gerald? When did they stop doing public service announcements on the news in America? Where you could get on, like, you could editorialize something that was said on the news for around 30 seconds.
I think that went away with the way of the 8-track, Sean. I don't remember it growing up either.
The advent of social media, Sean. They do it there.
Yeah. But still, I mean, if we could get Joe on the news.
What if they took it away from your daughter? What if your daughter was sent to court, everything was fine, hunky-dory, then all of a sudden
it wouldn't have mattered. I would have reacted the same way, because, again, at the end of the day, it's the task of faking when you don't have to. Why are you faking a $400? You guys can piss $400. What? So people in the crowd will be like, wow, the kid so 15,000 people in the arena are going to go home and go, man, that kid won a PS5. Yeah, let's have dinner celebrating it. Like, does it make any sense to put on that useless of a show? You put on a fake show for a bunch of people who don't give a shit, when you could have given a kid that residual feeling, and you screw him over. And then you have to have some local Yahoo or me call you out before you finally learn your lesson. That doesn't count. That doesn't count, by the way. Now you're just making up for your stupidity, and I already know you're stupid now. And the only reason why you're changing your tune is because you look like a fucking idiot, and you had enough people smacking you around. I don't trust you at that point. I don't trust you with anything. I don't trust you going to the store buying the right chips. You're probably that guy who, this is the only time I eat at McDonald's, by the way. If I don't have nuggets and the fries with the hot mustard sauce, I'm not eating it. That's the only food I eat at McDonald's. It's got to have the hot mustard sauce. If you're that guy that brings the sweet and sour or the honey mustard, your ass doesn't mean anything to me. Nothing. You might as well just go sell oranges on the corner. That's what your worth is to me.
What do you like? Because I just forgot it too.
Hot mustard, not honey mustard. Hot mustard. Hot mustard sauce from McDonald's. If you don't have that, I am not eating anything from McDonald's.
Well, it's
Matter of
very
fact,
easy to accommodate.
I overload
if you ask.
when the fam or my friends go there to go get whatever. I go ask them for hot mustard sauce. I'll have chicken at home and I'll dip it in that. They haven't made one individually for some reason. How many people I've asked when I've gone to McDonald's, hey, do you guys make this in a like they do at the Phil's barbecue? You know, they make Phil's barbecue sauce, right? When you go there. The lady always looks at me like I'm speaking Swahili to her. Like, seriously, is this a hard question?
Joe, have you ever thought about calling the McDonald's company itself?
No, never.
Well, they would have an answer for you.
Yeah, no. I want the person that works there to tell me. I want them to tell me, Joe, you're an idiot. They'll never make that. And I'll be like, you know what? Thank you for telling me the truth.
Joe, you're an idiot. They'll never make that.
Yeah, I would respect that. Like, how many times you got to come in here and ask that question?
No, you're not. You're misinterpreting. Joe, you're an idiot. They'll never make that.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm just sad I can't eat the McRib. So there you go. You couldn't even have one this year. I do it once every year. That's the only time I go to McDonald's. Is once every year.
Don't have that.
That was my staple sandwich growing up until I found out what it was.
Yeah, one year.
Same here.
One year in Canada, Gerald, and the Canadian FDA shut down the McRib, which.
Oh my god!
It was bad when I found out what it was.
Yeah.
And the Shamrock Shakes, oh yeah, they eliminated those too.
You don't have any fun in Canada.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so Sean, if I made $1 million in Canada, how much do they tax you over there for that?
What province are you living in?
Let's say I'm in Toronto.
You're in Ontario?
Mm-hmm.
Around 43%.
Now, is there an athlete tax on top of that too, like they do in LA and New York?
Yes.
So basically, half your money is going to be gone.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not that much different than LA and New York. LA is actually, or California, sorry. California's state tax is 13%. New York's actually 8.8%. So it's a little bit easier there. A little bit less by 5% or so, almost 5%. Because there's been a lot of discussions about Teoscar Hernandez going back to Toronto. I said, he ain't going back to Toronto. I go, they'll take 45% of his money here, but they'll probably take 50 to 52% in Toronto. He knows that. And then the Red Sox, they might as well call themselves the Florida Marlins at this point. They don't want to spend money on anything anymore. So fuck them.
Yeah, it really changed when John Henry sold the team. I don't know what happened there.
I think it's a cash register for a lot of these guys in baseball. Think about it for a second. There's 81 games where they're just raking. And concession in an 8 to 10 game season in the NFL, let's say the average is 50,000 people in a football game, right? Safe number, 50,000. Baseball, you usually have about 30 to 40. So extrapolate that. You have 50,000 times, let's just use the regular season for now. You have 4 million people in 8 games, right? Did I do the math right there?
Mm-hmm.
400,000. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My brain is not working right now. Hold on.
Yeah, Joe, you did the math.
Did I do that right? Okay, good. So $4 million during an 8-game season at home versus 81 with slightly less attendance. Yeah, they're making a lot of money. A lot of money on the tickets, a lot of money on the concessions in those times. So I think a lot of these guys are just like, especially Boston. Boston's probably sitting back going, look, we won 4 championships in this decade. Let's start making money now. We're not going to compete with the Dodgers anyways. That's what they're probably saying. We're not going to compete with the Dodgers. They're going to buy everything and everyone because they want to win. We don't care. We're going to make money.
Congrats to Danny's Cowboys. Nation's in the house. He just passed his finals at Santa Monica College. Samo, broadcasting class and marketing class, both A's. Fall semester 2024 came to an end. Congratulations, Danny. Hard work does pay off. As a father of 2 college students, or excuse me, 1 college student, 1 high school student going through finals right now, I know the work you put in. So congratulations to you indeed. But tomorrow, it is the Lakers who will have to put the work in as they head to Sacramento for 2 games in Sacramento in 3 days on Thursday and Saturday. Jeremy, that's Friday and Sunday for you, my friend. They are in Sacramento. They will be there, and of course, we'll have it for you starting at 7 p.m. with playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. I'll have it turned on for you guys. Not sure if I'll be there for the first hour or so, but I will be on at some point. Magic Man may be there. John Costa may be there. Xbox might be there. Henry Hill. Laker Nick. Who knows who'll stop by to go on stage for you guys, but we'll do our best we can. And then, of course, the best post game that's out there. I know Joe is going to be in transit, so safe travels to you, Joe. But Magic Man, before I hit it to Joe, any last thoughts, my friend, on the Lakers or anything else before we head on out? PS5 for you. Oh, I'm going to take it away.
Sacramento. You'll always have the Deftones.
Okay. There you go. And that wasn't quite what I was expecting, but there you go. All right. Good point nonetheless. Absolutely. Good to have Magic back indeed. Before we head on out, Joe, any last thoughts from you before we head on out?
You rich assholes, stop being pieces of shit.
That's what I was expecting there, Magic. Wasn't so much expecting that from you. Was definitely expecting that from Joe.
You see what's going on in the world. You got people coming out of nowhere now, and just saying, people are tired. Read up on the French history. There's been a lot of those
people have killed for a PlayStation, Joe. They have killed before for a PlayStation, and I'll just leave it at that.
Let them eat cake, Joe.
Jay, I've been to Phil's. I don't like their sauce. I just use them because that's what came to my head right away. I go to a place called Lucille's. I think their sauce is better.
Yeah, they're okay. They're okay. Best barbecue places actually.
I mean, it's always difficult to
well, what kind of sauce do you like? Hickory?
No, just regular original.
Okay.
Yeah, just regular original.
I'm more of a sweet and sour myself.
I have the Lakers winning on Thursday and losing on Saturday. Magic Man has it reversed. Joe thinks sweep.
I had predicted that they were going to lose to Memphis and lose both games to Sacramento just because of the way they were playing. But if AD shows up against Sabonis, which he hasn't been showing up, even when they won, I don't know. I'd like to see both those be wins, please. I'm not grumpy, guys. If I was grumpy, no, I'm not grumpy. This is who I am.
This is who he is. I just said it right
I
there.
I am what I am.
He is Joe.
Joe Soro.
I'm not gonna hide the fact that stupidity doesn't get called out enough. It's very important to be that
no
person.
changing him now. Yep.
I'm not here. I didn't wake up today going, I'm gonna go on the show and be all, yeah, I'm gonna throw some stuff out here. No, it was a reaction to stupidity.
I am what I am, Joe Soro.
Don't I'm tired of Walmart brains. I'm tired of those people, especially the ones that have money. You don't
And
want to
I'll
spend
bet-
your money. You don't want to. You don't want to. You don't want to do that shit. Then
including
give
the
them a
Waltons,
lollipop right out the
including
gate.
the Waltons who own Walmart, Joe.
I hate Walmart. Hate it. I only go there if I absolutely have to. Thank God I haven't been there this year at all. I found some
Denver
good mom and
Walmarts.
pops. I found a good mom and pop place that I can get most of my stuff for work from.
And do
And
a
on
mom
that
and
note-
pop own it?
Yeah, it's called Hank's Hardware.
There you go. All right. Give them a shout out
They're
indeed.
about a mile away from my warehouse. I still go to Home Depot and Lowe's just because there are things there that I do need in terms of where
Do
I'm
you
at.
guys still have Blacks? Are they around?
No, Ace Hardware is still around in spots.
They're losing stores fast.
Yeah, because they're getting eaten up by the big ones.
But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break tomorrow, 7 p.m. U.S. Pacific time. It is the Lakers at Sacramento, game 1 of a 2-game set over the course of 3 days there, and we will cover both games for you like only we can on playback. Playback.tv/Lakers fast break. We'll have it for you up and about. And then after that, of course, the best post game that's out there. Yeah, Jeremy, you just said where does he shop? Oh, where does he shop for like groceries and stuff?
There's a supermarket called Stater Brothers,
Yeah, familiar with that in the California area.
and then my wife goes to Target.
Target.
Although Target lost its appeal to me the last decade. It happened when the DVD went away. There was something about Target and going there and looking at TVs and DVDs and Blu-rays. There was an elegance of that. My wife would go shop for stuff, and then of course my kids, when we were getting toys there, but now that they're grown, they don't get toys anymore. So as soon as the DVD or the Blu-ray wasn't needed, and then the toys weren't relevant in my life, Target turned into just a place where I get deodorant every 6 weeks in a package. And even that changed to Costco recently because they have those 12 deodorant packages.
I hate
what-
Costco. I hate shopping at Costco.
Really?
Yeah,
I liked Costco.
I like Costco. I'll tell you why, Sean. I know the
Joe, you're so full of shit right now, ladies.
well, I know the operation at Costco. I know how they take care of people over
You
there.
don't like being around a lot of people. There's no way you would enjoy
But
shopping.
I don't go on a Saturday at 12. I go I run my schedule. I go
I'm
Monday
sorry.
at 11.
The Costco around here is busy every time.
No,
of the day.
not on Monday
Gerald,
or Tuesday at 11.
Gerald, in Vegas, is it busy all?
Vegas is different.
There's some dead
shut
spots.
up, Joe.
I'd
Vegas
say
is different, dude. That's a 24/7
Shut up.
town.
I'd say early afternoon is kind of light, but and
What's
then
the
late right around
population-
kind of close. Right
What's the
around the close. You
population
gotta go
of
close.
Temecula?
Sean, go right
100,000?
around closing time. Go right around
Okay.
closing time. That's usually better.
What?
Right
Sean,
around close.
if you come to Temecula,
What is the population of Temecula?
100,000.
Okay, outside of that area, in like a
Like
300 square mile radius.
The greater Inland Empire. I mean, you're
Yes.
talking 3 million people, maybe.
Okay, so you're talking the population of Toronto. Great. Costco's busy every fucking time of day in Toronto, Joe.
It's not here.
You're so full of shit right
I
now.
swear.
You know what?
Come to
You are so
Temecula.
full of
I'll
shit.
take you to Costco. I'll take you to Costco
Yeah, we'll
at
go to
11
Costco.
a.m.
We'll
on
go
a
to
Monday.
Costco just to see it.
He'll
that
treat you
busy.
to lunch. He'll treat you
Yeah,
to
I'll
lunch,
treat
Sean.
you to
The-
a
the- a hot dog
$2.25
special.
lunch.
The hot dog and the pop.
Yes.
Don't they
I
have
will-
those sandwich burrito things that are like $3?
Yes.
Joe, I don't even
The
know what
chicken-
you're talking
the
about.
chicken
We're up here in
bakes.
Canada. All we got is the hot dog and the pop.
You know what's really good is their little yogurt ice cream vanilla one.
I've got to agree with
Money.
Sean on the Canadian Costco thing because I went to Costco when I was in Vancouver and that place was packed. It was packed. And Vegas, you just have to go at the right time. But for the most part, it is packed. as
Dude,
well.
trust me. You come at 11 o'clock on a Monday without holidays, shit is empty. Not empty relative to Costco. Not empty.
No, I don't think LeBron goes food shopping. I think he has. That's why he
Definitely
has
not.
assistants.
No, you call up your chef, you ask them what they think you should eat, and they order it, and they
Dude,
order all the alligator, they order the hippopotamus, they order the elk,
Janet Jackson
the
didn't even know
buffalo,
what Flamin' Hot
whatever you
Cheetos
need.
was. She
That
was
doesn't
doing an
surprise
interview.
me.
She had no idea what Flamin' Hot Cheetos was.
I just had to buy 2 of them.
How did that come up in conversation?
Because we're talking about LeBron not going shopping.
No, Janet Jackson and Flaming Hot Cheetos, idiot.
It was a correlation to LeBron not going shopping. Stars that are that big.
No. Okay, so we have failure to communicate again.
Yeah.
I meant during the interview she did with whomever did the interview. How did Flaming Hot Cheetos come up?
I think somebody mentioned the chips, and she said, "I don't know what that is."
All right. I just had to buy 2 bags of Flaming Hot Cheetos. So there you go. That's a Christmas present.
Gerald,
They specifically wanted that. So
Gerald, your quack of a doctor says you can't eat lobster anymore, but you can eat Flaming Hot Cheetos.
No, I didn't buy them for me. It's for a Christmas present, Sean.
Oh, okay.
Somebody legitimately wanted bags of Flaming Hot Cheetos, and so we'll just
Gerald, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
Just leave it at that. All right, but it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. We'll be back tomorrow for more fun and hijinks. Joe will be in transit, be in and out to the chat. So
good luck on the Botox surgery, Joe.
Yes, absolutely.
This is all natural.
So for the 50 million people who's going to ask, "Where's Joe? Where's Joe?" Please in the chat say, "Look, he's not going to be available for what? Probably through the weekend."
Probably.
Yeah.
But I might chime in mobile, but it's going to be up in the air for right now.
Yeah, we'll see. But that's the case. We welcome it. But hopefully Magic Man will be here. I'll try to be here. I'll be here for the post game. That's for sure. John Costa should be here for the post. He wanted to be at the game, but as he told you last week, it cost too damn much. So yeah, the prices are like insane.
Game? The Laker game?
Yeah, the Lakers. He was price shopping the Lakers at Sacramento game.
I'll tell Johnny don't spend your money over there.
Yeah, he did. No, he didn't. So he'll be probably on playback with us, and then of course the post game. 805 says Milwaukee celebrated harder than we did last year, and everyone gave Milwaukee love and us hate when we won it. I hate the NBA Cup. That makes 2 of us. 805.
They didn't pop the champagne though. We did.
Yes. They said keep it on ice. Yes, like you're going to go.
Yeah, like you're
Cleveland,
going to go. Yeah, going to be
Boston.
Cleveland and Boston in the same playoff. Okay.
So did they just throw away all that champagne, or did they donate it to some kid who wanted champagne?
Oh no, the service staff took care of that, Joe.
No, I'm sure they did.
They had a good time.
All right. But again, it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Jeremy, look forward to having you there and everyone else there on playback.tv/Lakers fast break. And of course, the best post game that's out there after the game at Sacramento is going to be right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast.
Pain.
He's an assistant where he belongs.
Shut up, Joe.
Why?
Have a good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Be safe.